Welcome to episode 1 of the Ranch Office vlog, presented by Fresca and
the Ranch Office.
the Ranch Office.
Is always better.
Life is always better at the ranch, which brings us into our topic for today, which is, who are we? Who are we, Mike? Who are we at the Ranch Office?
I think you can say it best and you have it memorized.
Oh, that's right. I do have the pitch memorized. Well, the Ranch Office is a uniquely Texan co-working space that combines the ranch-style decor with a culture of Southern hospitality. Now, that's our identity, but
Right.
But what exactly does that mean? And before we go into that, let's actually get started saying a little bit about us.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go first. My name is Michael Hapanimi, obviously. I started this project with the Ranch Office about a year and a half ago at the end of 2017. And I saw that this layout, this empty space was great for a co-working space environment. And I kind of slowly started getting ideas as far as what kind of a brand we could build. And there was just always some sort of idea for a Texas-style co-working, a uniquely Texan type of co-working space, because all I had seen elsewhere is people copying the Silicon Valley style, the creative New York style, and I was like, Texas needs its own style
Yeah, for sure.
of co-working. So I am from Houston, born and raised. I actually grew up not too far from the Ranch Office in Memorial, went to Kincaid High School, and then I spent some time in Chicago, going to university up there and working in management consulting. Spent some time at another co-working space up there, and that is where I got the inspiration for this. Mike, tell us about yourself.
So, yeah, I actually started in a whole different venue. I started working in oil and gas, like hustle.
I haven't even heard this
muscle.
full story, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's really blowing and going. I was just going to a local community college, and my brother actually got in a bad wreck, so I had to support my family, and I had to make a decision of like, am I going to take this pause off from school and go full in, or am I going to, I had to make a decision, so I decided just to go in, and I was at Baker Hughes. I always wanted to get my foot in the door in the oil and gas company. So I just, worked and moved up the chains and started really finding a liking in the inventory, because inventory is like numbers, right? It's like equity. So if you think about it, what you have on hand is cash, because that's what you can sell. So I really just dived in there and started really going hard. So then I moved out of that.
Well, wait, tell me a little more about that role, because I always see you coming in with this Baker Hughes jacket.
Yeah.
And looking like a boss.
Yeah.
And you keep saying inventory, and you tell me stories about people who lost their fingers and stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah.
What was that role actually like?
So going into it, it's like a lot of companies I don't think understand how important inventory is. So at Baker, we have, your annual audits that you have to pass a certain level to be able to get, whether it is a bank loan, or prove that you are saying what you tell your stockholders that they're holding, right? Because your stockholders are holding their stocks, and you got to present losses and all that good stuff.
So you were basically keeping tabs on a specific warehouse here in Houston.
It was actually the biggest one. It was the World Distribution Center for Baker Hughes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it was in an international warehouse. We were shipping things to Iraq, some to Afghanistan. We shipped things to South America, anywhere. Australia.
What kind of things are we talking
A lot
about?
of oil
here for the
tools. So
audience?
there's like different parts in oil and gas, like wireline, which is right here on usually just land. So just fracking, having a wireline tool, which brings that oil up. And then they have like drilling side and just different sides, subsea side, which is offshore, things like that. So I was the first person in Baker Hughes history to get 100% on the inventory audit.
100% what?
100% accuracy. So that means like
Ooh.
we counted everything from the screws that built this. Like if it's a bag of 50 and they chose to count 50,000 screws, we had to count all those screws. So we weighed them up. We were on the money. So I got a plaque that I still have that says inventory audit 100%, first time in over 100 years. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was good to get that
So you're bringing that same level of detail-oriented focus over to the ranch
Right.
office, right?
Right, exactly. So that's what we're trying to do, but we're trying to figure out how to engage with the community and create that level. I feel like like inventory is a whole different side of it, but like one thing that I did learn was no one really cared about inventory, right? So this kind of is an interesting conversation. Like once you started to develop the teams and let them know what the real reason, the purpose of the truth for inventory, it changed. And I think we went from like 95, 96% on, I mean, it's a huge warehouse, so even 5% is a great amount of revenue. But, once they started to learn, you just develop this influence on people and you educate them for the purpose of why they're doing something. That's really what changed it. It made it 100%.
That's a great segue back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which is why are we doing what we're doing here at the ranch office? And I remember you kind of talking a lot about how different it is to just really love coming in to the place that you work every day, whether it's from you being a part of the team at the ranch office or being a member here. Just showing up every day and not sitting in front of a white wall cubicle and wanting to shoot yourself. Yeah,
so being in that space, I was able to, first of all, I started off in the warehouse, so that was different. But then once I moved into like a more stable desk role, in oil and gas, it's a tradition to be like, oh, it's a myth. Like once you get in the offices, you've made it, but you're stuck. You're stuck in this same day role where you're kind of like in a mouse wheel. And I think that happens to a lot of people. Like, yes, you might have a great role. Yes, you might have a great opportunity, and you might really like what you do, but I didn't like where I was at, to be honest with you. And it's just like you come in the same place, the same day. I mean, same role, and it's just like there's no interaction. Me being a people person, I like to talk and do things with my team. And, it was just, I felt like the place that we worked, there was no opportunity to really build real relationships. Everyone had a separate role. Like you're in you might be in purchasing and I'm in inventory, and we have nothing to do, together other than just look at the systems and maybe ask questions from time to time. But that was one of the things that I'm sorry. That's one of the things that I just felt like
I'm kind of relating that to back before I was in the kind of entrepreneurial sphere. I mean, I did 2 years in management consulting at A.T. Kearney, which is a great firm, great exposure to, seeing how businesses operate, going to the corporate world. But, I had always kind of known that I wanted to, branch off and start my own journey, wherever that may lead to, create something. I always wanted to build something. And yeah, I mean, I won't lie. At the beginning, it was kind of adventurous. You're traveling. They kind of play it up as a very glamorous lifestyle, and you're having fun. But there becomes a point which is like, this is not what I want to do with my life. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people out there that kind of, like you said, get stuck into a routine because of, I don't know what kind of financial obligations and having that kind of stability of income. And just fear of jumping out into the unknown. And I've been out in the unknown for a few years. I mean, I actually, worked with a startup in Chicago, a mobile app that didn't go anywhere. And, it's a risky kind of proposition, but if you really know what your purpose is and what you want to do with your life and where you want to be and what's making you happy pursuing day to day, day in and day out, it's ultimately rewarding, and you will come out the other side. Right. And so it's interesting because you're more recently switched from the industry kind of corporate world to now, which is, I mean, this is a startup. Like, we're a startup in ourselves. We've been open a month. And we're on the journey now to, fill up this office and, see what comes after that, what we're going to do with the ranch office brand in Houston going forward, and maybe outside of Houston. So
coming from that space, I want to mention, you look at the traditional office space, and I don't want to just keep talking just a specific office space, just environment space, and there's nothing like change and get up. Have you ever gone out of town and you just have that feeling, you're like, I'm out of town. You could just feel it. It's like that feeling where it's like, it's different, and it's a different type of feeling.
Something is different here.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what I think a lot of companies have to realize. Like, I think oil and gas is a perfect example. I mean, people perform better. I feel people perform better when they're able to not so much venture out, but when they're able to be in an area that they actually enjoy. So I talked about it at the chamber today. The guy was asking me like, yeah, I'm here every day, and I like to go to Starbucks and switch it up, or I like to work remote sometimes. And it's just like, where is that environment that you truly find yourself?
I think that's why co-working spaces have been doing really well recently, and at least taking off in the market. I mean, this wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Well, it was a thing, but it was kind of like a here and there type thing. But now I think the masses of small businesses, especially with the popularity of WeWork and other brands like that, the masses of small businesses are starting to open up and say, okay, this is something that does apply for us. Right. Whereas before, it kind of had an association with just like the techie startups and the Google style offices with people riding their scooters down the hallways. And there is still a lot of that. I mean, co-working spaces and incubators and that kind of thing go hand in hand. And I will say a lot of other cities have developed down this path a lot more than Houston has. I mean, New York, they're everywhere. West Coast, obviously, they're everywhere. Chicago, where I came from, I don't remember how many. There was like 10 WeWorks within a square mile or something like that. Anyway, Houston is a little behind the curve, but I mean, the whole premise of the ranch office is that Houston's not that kind of city. We're not a tech startup city. We have tech startups, great. Like, we want to attract all, varieties of industry, but at our heart, that's not the city that we are. We are a city of industry. We are a city of, oil and gas, medicine, small business.
Huge energy.
Exactly.
Generated city,
yeah,
right.
And so we're saying, let's create a co-working culture that's for the people that are here, for the industries that are here, for the masses of small businesses that are here, because people here don't even know what the word co-working means. And when I say people, I mean there are the young people who may have heard of it, but your average small business out there has no idea. They know what executive suites means, and so we tell them, okay, co-working is basically the modern iteration on executive suites, where now it's based around community and it actually has an inspiring work atmosphere.
Right. And I want to be real specific with this, because I've thought about this. I've thought about this on my own time, and I've talked to a few people about this. Can you call a community space, think about this question, a community without unity? So community has the word unity in there.
I like the alliteration there.
Right? So like I go to different co-working spaces and I see their community space, but how involved is your community within itself?
That's a really good point you brought up, because one of the things that we've been able to take advantage of here at the ranch office is what does make us different, which is the fact that we're a small space, right? We don't take 5 floors in a corporate high-rise downtown or in the Galleria. And I will say, when I was at WeWork in Chicago, I realized, it's a big space. You do talk to people, but everybody becomes kind of cliquish and sticks with their own teams. Whereas here, we're able to create a small Texas family with a little more intimate relationships where, I always say, I'm going off to lunch and I'm saying, hey, Patrick, do you want us to grab you anything? Like,
yeah,
you're not going to be doing that with someone outside of your team in a big space, because just the scale itself makes things more impersonal. And so I think, being a small space, we have to take advantage of our the things that make us unique. Right. And it becomes our forte. It becomes our kind of kryptonite as to why would you want to join the ranch office versus some of these other spaces. Well, we do kind of pitch this feeling of kind of being at home, and
Yeah.
this feeling of Southern hospitality and this intimate environment that we've created with this size has been able to allow us to have that different feeling, that different vibe,
Right.
and form real relationships, and I'll say friendships too.
Yeah, definitely.
Not just business relationships where you exchange cards and put on a front.
Right.
And a good example of that is our Taco Tuesdays, which you came up with the idea first. Personal development. The first thing you said once you joined the team was personal development. Like, I'm big on that. You and I kind of bonded over
Right,
Gary
sure.
Vee and all those kind of videos, and we eventually were able to bring it and create a integral part of ranch operations by making it a Tuesday routine. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so TED Talk Taco Tuesday.
T5.
T5.
Today's TED Talk Taco Tuesday trivia.
Trivia, tornado. Don't forget the
Tornado
tornado.
taco.
Tornado taco.
Shout out.
So it's just like, I believe in personal development. It's a way to not just work out your, you got your workout for your muscles, but how do you work out your brain? And honestly, the way I see it is like learning from some of the best and some of the people who have some of the best philosophies. And then once we bonded over that, I know that you love tacos. And, we talked about Taco Tuesday, and we're like, hey, why not every week put up, develop ourselves? So then it went even further than that. We're like, well, why not just invite our members? And, well, let's not stop there. Why not invite the community? So what I really see going for Taco Tuesday is a spot where not just us, not just our members, people can come together for free, of course, to watch Taco Tuesday, get some tacos, and talk about where do they see the connections with their selves, their lives, their businesses, and everyone gives their 2 cents on what did they get the most out of that day. So we do that weekly, and
So give an example to the audience of what kind of stuff we've been doing, like some of the videos we've been doing,
sure.
just so they can get a little.
Well, I'm bad with
tangible.
names, but the X
Simon Sinek with Start With Why.
Start With
which
Why.
is integral to this video in general.
Yeah.
And the good thing about these sessions is that it's not only personal development and thinking about, but it's also about thinking about how it can improve each individual's business, right?
Right.
So we're sitting here talking with our members about what's your why? How are you creating an identity that people are going to buy into? And he always says you want to focus on people who believe what you believe, right?
Right.
Instead of just being the what, focusing on the why. And it really gets you thinking, man. Like, between that, we did one with extreme ownership.
Right, which was a
Jocko
really good
Willink.
one. Right.
Yep.
Taking ownership, especially leadership. I really believe, and this is one of the things, key to success, I believe, is on leadership. And he talked about leadership and taking ownership of every situation from the top down, regardless if it's you that made that decision or someone in the position below you. It just talks really about how as a leader you can affect your whole, I would say, I don't want to use the word downline, but you can affect your whole
Your whole world.
your
pretty
whole
much.
world, your whole team, by taking ownership of every situation, good or bad,
Up and down.
up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, making sure that you look at it and say, what could have I done to change that situation, and making sure that you do that, and of course game plan before you go into those situations. Great PD.
And I think that topic is important to us as a startup, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done, and there's, being a 2-person team, there's not necessarily always clear delineations of roles, and
Right.
and I mean, even if something needs to get done and you see that there's a potential that it's going to slip through the cracks, like, you step up and we catch it before it does fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And even if it's not necessarily our responsibility. But going back to the whole theme of personal development, I saw this on LinkedIn today. I just had to find this and bring it up. So I saw a quote that says, "Entrepreneurship is the world's greatest self-improvement program with a potential big compensation package attached." And that just made me think. going back to the why, I identified with that. I bought into that. I shared that.
Yeah.
Which is my equivalent of, buying something or becoming a customer. Like, I shared that, meaning I bought into it.
Right.
Because I believed in it very much. And I, having been an entrepreneur for a few years, have seen how that whole process forces you to take accountability, to become a certain type of person that is persistent, that is organized, that is disciplined. And if you're not that kind of person before, it's a journey that develops you. It really does, because you're forced to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna
see it in your business for sure.
Well, you're gonna either see it in your business or your business is gonna fail.
Exactly.
And
that is seeing it in your business.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, working with him, working besides him. I mean, for you being at where you're at in life, and this being one of your newest ventures, man, you're killing it. We're crushing it. I mean, for the culture that we're able to develop and what we're able to push, and I mean, everyone, it's great because right now I'm going out on the town, and I've met with 2 people just today that said they've heard of this place, and it's becoming more and more and more. Where we get that, and I'm great to just be like, so what have you heard? I'm really interested. And every time it's something great. It's just it's always like, yeah, you guys have a beautiful space, or my friend said that you guys have this or that, or great people, great party, and it's great to hear that. It just gives you that little moment of, okay, we're making somewhat of an impact.
Exactly. And I mean, where we're at now, we're about a month from having opened our doors, and our whole strategy has been, never to go in super pushy, salesy, to really build a strong foundation. I mean, if we're claiming that we're based on Southern hospitality, we better deliver. And that's who we are, right?
Right.
And so we're basically trying to build what we like to call emotional equity, which is giving as much upfront value as possible with people to make them really become what we call brand allies.
Right.
And that's been our focus. While we could be going for more short-term transactional sales mentalities, we're okay with being a little more patient and building up our name and our brand to where people, when they talk about us, they absolutely love us because we've gone out of our way for them. We've given them free conference room space. We've given them free event space, not asking for anything in return. And it just feels good to help people. It just feels good.
Yeah. I think it's important to note too, sales are temporary, but relationships can last forever. So, I mean, think about it. Like, we're really trying to build these relationships. And like you said, like, it's an angle of approach if you really think about it. Like, do we want you to come in the office? Do we try to sell you on event space? Or do we rather really enjoy you as a person, really want you as your company and build a relationship? And I think, honestly, where we're at now, I think we've done a great job at finding how to truly not just say, oh, hi, we're the ranch office, but to get to know about you, for you to get to know about us. And I think that we've developed great brand allies. Like, if you look at our pictures, I'm pretty sure you've seen it, like, even with Richard Nevins. I mean, he's one of the guys that, when I think about him, a smile just comes to my face. I mean, he's jolly, he's happy. He's always...
Dustin, Kathy. I mean, we've built a small community here within this month. And, I mean, a lot of that has been over the course of not only going to networking events, but planning for and executing our event, which we got to give props to Mike here. He organized that event, and it was a huge success. We had over 120 people show out for it. Yeah. And I just remember my friend Macy, who was here helping us out, saying, I did not expect that I did not expect that when you said we have a launch party. She was like, this place was packed. There were so many people out here. And I was like, well, me and Mike, we put in the work. We hustled, and we made sure that everyone, was going to be out there that we've connected with. So,
for sure. And I want to say thank you to everyone. I mean, and what's great to see too, if you really think about it, a lot of the people that told us that they were going to come out actually showed up. And that means the world to us because, I mean, like, it shows us more than we're just your local, okay, we're going to come by if we can, if we will. It shows that we're really building these relationships. It shows that people nowadays, especially like with the LinkedIn family that we've built, that they're reliable and that we're really creating people that can rely on us, and as well as we could rely on them.
And you know what else? I mean, yes, that is all true, but it also helps that we've got a great product that people are curious to see.
That's true.
People are curious when they hear about the ranch office and they see pictures and they're like, what is this place? This looks awesome. And we made a concerted effort to not just be a typical networking event, right? We had barbecue, we had live music. Madison Page was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, she crushed it.
She's a great person too.
You know, when you set yourself apart and say, you know, we don't want to go along with the, you know, the herd and just do a typical business event. When you try to be different, people see that and they want to show out. You know, everybody loves free food, and
you're right.
Thinks it's a party.
It's a party. And one thing is we could say this all day, that we try to feel different. We're trying to be different. You know, we could say like when you try to be different, but when you come in, like I think a lot of people were so shocked, and a lot of the people that we met along the way feel that realism of these guys are authentic. Like you can feel what we say. It's not like come in, you know, like I don't want to take jabs at any company, but I saw an ad and it was like lonely, and it was like Office Space, and it's like really.
Are
like,
you sure that was an ad for Office Space?
It was like lonely in a workspace or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's like how can you
try Coworking? And it's like okay.
It's like okay, you think you're gonna come and build real relationships, and they're not, and then you got these things where you come, you see the tour, and you actually get what you expect. That doesn't happen often, where you're like, this is the full package. And I think people are seeing that, and I don't even want to talk too much upon that. I mean, people feel that, and I think that's spreading around right now.
So, funny, quick side note. To your point, people do see that, and there is evidence that already for us that pays off. We received what is probably the best review I think we'll ever receive, or any company could receive. It was like 2 pages, and
we were stunned. We were like,
and it basically just outlined how the space and how we made him feel when he came for a tour, and he was down.
Yeah.
He was immediately down, and we actually printed that and laminated that, and we read it every morning to
remember and
remember exactly who we are, what we're doing, and
what we can give too,
never lose sight of, you know, our identity and what our goal with this space is, and that's to, you know, bring that Southern hospitality, bring customer service back to the workspace game.
100%.
Like, it sounds like something you would want in any industry, but you know, the executive suites out there right now, they just take it for granted, and I think that presents a real opportunity that we can capitalize on.
100%. And I think that's an opportunity that we want. What more than relationships with real people in your city, right?
Yeah.
Think about it, like an opportunity to build real relationships.
And at the end of the day, if you're trying to put that on for, you know, sales tactics or for, you know, just to make more money, you're going to get found out. Like people are going to see through it, because eventually, you know, somebody comes through and realizes that it's just not there anymore. But if you truly enjoy making people's day brighter, day in and day out, people are going to see that, and people are going to flock to it. And so that's who we are. That is who we are, and that's what we're about. Yeah. So if you guys haven't already, come check out the ranch office. We'd love to host you for a coffee, or if you're of age, a adult beverage. And check out our space, get to know us, get to know our members.
You mentioned Taco Tuesday. Yeah,
Taco Tuesday.
Definitely come out to that.
That's
an invitation to anybody who wants to come out and get some personal development here at the ranch office. Tacos are on the house.
Tacos are on the ranch. Anyway, it's great to have everybody. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Ranch Office out.